Hi there, planner friends. It's a pleasure to be back with you today. I know it's been kind of like a slow upload the start of the month, and don't worry, I'm still here. I've been recording every time I get to plan a new week or something, different on my common planner. But luckily, I have been falling behind because I've stepped up on some other goals that I had for the year. So just some other things are taking more of my time. And I've got the little one joining me today also for this voiceover. But I hope you guys enjoy this one. I definitely took a spin on my recording angles. This specifically came from this comment that I received, and yes, that is definitely something that I need to work on. My after the pen recordings, I'm not sure why, but I need to practice more the rendering, the pre-recording, and just the editing for my videos. I will be spending more time making sure I get those after the pen shots for you all, especially because more than likely the people watching those after the pens are those watching the full video. So I really appreciate you guys, and I'd like to make sure I get those shots right. And, just for refreshing, talking about, getting better shots, I thought it'd be nice to also practice maybe recording in some different angles. I know this one isn't exactly the best to see what's going on my planner, but, for this plan with me, I was pretty busy. Like I had my baby was up and playing, and I think my husband was using my desk this morning. He was working on there, and I was with the baby in the kitchen. And since I was, getting busy with her and also like trying to cook some things at the same time, I had to take multiple breaks. So it wasn't going to be a standard sit down and record. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of like change things up this way, just take multiple angles as I try to get my recording through. I also wanted to point out that I received some very helpful comments on my last planning video, and I will be sharing those with you soon because they were such great recommendations. But in the meantime, this is what I have in my common planner so far. I pre-drew a week on one page with my pencil, and now I am just simply going back into it with my Peaches and Pine and my Amore Rose Studio stickers. I left the left side of my page blank so I could use that as a dashboard place instead. So right side holds my weekly vertical on one page, and left side is just my draw ball dashboard. This vertical weekly was actually a great option when it comes to just pen to paper planning. It gave me the exact space I needed for just writing my to-dos, but it was a little limiting when it came to decorating, so I only used functional stickers on that side of the page. As for my right side, it was a little challenging to not have anything there and just start working with a blank area. The stickers really kind of helped me lay out more or less how I wanted things to come down. But I think for the next week, it would be best to start off with some sort of pre-drawn also sections. So that's something that I will be changing in the upcoming week. I will admit that having a similar view to that of my mini Happy Planner dashboard layout was a really good step into making that transition into my common planner. This was the only planner I used for this week, and I was so happy about that because, finally I put my mini Happy Planner down and I only used this one to get all of my things done throughout the week and keep track of everything. So here is a closer view of how the pre-setup came out with a couple of stickers on it, but no writing just yet. Here is where we are now after the pen. And before I continue, I briefly wanted to show you for any of you who are using the mini happy planner and wanted to see a closer view of how the common planner B6 is size-wise. If you put one on top of the other, they will look very similar. They will feel, it almost feels like they fit in flush. At least the cover does, because the pages are slightly different. And let me show you. Here on a blank page, you can see that if you put the mini happy planner pages right on top of the B6 planner, you have additional writing space where the discs would be. So I think that's great for anyone who has small handwriting like myself. Those additional little sections make a world of a difference. You can also notice that in comparison to my spread, this sheet is a lot more kind of like horizontal boxes versus mine went a little more vertical. And then definitely just overall change in how my left side looks because I didn't even use sections for it. So that's a quick, brief walkthrough of the changes I made from that last week's setup to this week. As for my pre-printed vertical weeklies, you guys remember week 1 was just a fail for me. It was hard for me to get situated with what I wanted, so that's why I'm very excited to get started on this blank new week. I've had multiple planners in the past. I have tried working with that method, and what I discovered from it was that when you do have sets of 2 weekly planners, even if they look slightly different, the best way to make them both work is to track slightly different things on one from the other. So you don't want them to be an exact copy of each other because that will just make you have overwork and it's just unnecessary. To keep my spreads different, in my dashboard weekly, I am going to hold the overview of my week. And then on this vertical weekly, I will house what my daily pages used to track. So overall, that was like a breakdown of my weekly tasks or a process of how to get a certain weekly task done. With a highlighted line right under the date is how I plan to have my weekly focus. This is not something I have on my dashboard. I decided to put it here instead because this is actually the page I keep open throughout the day. I also included color-coded dots, and these note my daily habits. They match the same color that I am using to track them on my quarterly page, so like that I can easily remember which is which. Lately, my daily pages have been pretty direct. I wasn't decorating them, and they were simply just the lists of things I had to get done throughout the day. The only notable thing was that they were arranged in an early morning, late morning, midday, afternoon, evening format. So they still were in schedule or in the order that they would get done. Even though I do not have an hourly schedule, I do like to mentally separate my tasks into pockets throughout the day. So it doesn't specifically have to get done at a certain hour, but it would be best to be done within a certain time frame. So I separated my daily habits into those time slots. So early morning, mid-morning, midday, just very broad sections. And with my habits, aside from separating them into those time slots, I also left room in between where I would think most of my other to-dos would fit in or get accomplished. So as you can see from my layout, my morning tasks are clustered together because my early morning goes by pretty fast and I really need to focus on the things I have set up for myself. As for my late morning to midday has a lot more room because that's typically the time that I get my daily house chores done. Wrapping things up, this is the final view of my dashboard so far. So again, right side houses all of the dates in these vertical columns. And something a little different is that this last column has my next week tasks or reminders. So instead of keeping a sticky note on the following page, I can keep everything visible right here so I won't lose track of anything. As for the dashboard side, as you can see, it's a lot more clustered, but at the very top, I kept a section of my top threes for the entire week. And then on this other little section, I have a part that says pending, which I'm actually considering renaming because this actually houses tasks of things I would like to do to help others and not necessarily direct for me. Then finally, I have down here my weekly checklist, and this is essentially a brain dump of all of the things I would like to get done during the week. Not necessarily urgent, but things I need to keep track of. These two little decorative boxes just have like focuses, just things that I wanted to stand out. So that's that. And then I know I had talked to you guys about having a sleep tracker. Instead of putting this on a chart of its own, I decided to add it to my weekly. Like that I wouldn't have to do as much flipping. And it really isn't necessary for me to see a whole month's view. So this is sufficient enough. Last details to my vertical weekly is that I also added the weather we will be having since we are in that chaotic period where there's freezing days and then sunny days. I wanted to make sure that I kept track of that. So I added that next to the date, which I think looks very cute. Below it, of course, are my color-coded dots. And then at the very end, I put in a little dot which will mark a reminder for me to update my weekly log, and also a little equal signs for me to kind of grade how well I thought the day went. I hope you don't mind too much the little giggles and mini footsteps in the background. I won't lie, these may be a little more frequent as I push to get these videos out, but hopefully you can still find some enjoyment in them while you either watch or listen. Thanks for stopping by, and I can't wait to see you here on the next one. Bye-bye.